Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Relics of Hyrule walkthrough. This is part 4, and I have collected some stuff from the Helgen, Guardian Stones, Riverwood, and Bleak Falls Barrow up to the Termin Forge sort of area. So far we've explored a little bit of Whiterun Hold, and we have quite a bit of stuff. We have some Fairy Bow, we have Forgotten Battle Axe, Hero's Sword, Deku's Shield, all sorts of stuff that we've collected so far. We've got some hints. One hint that we got from the Termin Forge says to go northeast to the city swallowed by the sea and the enchanter deep within, or to the island half buried by ash. Now, both of those are, of course, to the northeast. Windhelm would get us to Solstheim, and Winterhold is where we can find another ancient enchanter. There is actually another one in the Rift. We're not going to go there because it's really far away. But Winterhold is the easiest one to get to. However, there's a lot of space between us and Winterhold, and we're only level 2. There's also some stuff down in Falkreath that we can grab, and there's stuff all over, really. Ultimately, there's 3 major dungeons in the mod. There's one down in Falkreath, one on Solstheim, and then one up by Solitude. So we want to get to at least level 10 so we can tackle those. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loop this way, or maybe this way. I might go up actually, I'm going to go up this way. Near Redoran's Retreat. Let me go to Termin Forge, drop some stuff off. Near Redoran's Retreat, there is a location called Forgotten Cavern. It's doable at our level. It might be a little tough, but I think we can do it. I'm gonna drop off some heavier stuff like the Forgotten Battle Axe. I don't really need this. I could turn it into redead leather and repurpose it, but I don't really have a use for it right now. This I could repurpose. I could get rid of that. Wolf Pelt I'll drop off because it's kind of a lot. Now I have a mod that I think I have a mod installed on Legendary. I know I have it on Special. No, I don't. Oh, I forgot to show this to you. You can dye the hero's cap with Dragon's Tongue. So let's do that. On my other, on Special Edition, I have you can break things down. I have a mod that allows you to break stuff down. I don't think I have that. I don't have that on here. So we're not going to worry about that. It's not Relics of Hyrule related. It's just an added bonus. Just double checking to see if I have any temperable items, and currently I do not. I need steel and taproot to temper my weapons. So what we're going to do is we're going to fast travel up to Redoran's Retreat, and we're going to go to the Forgotten Cavern. Now, it's a little tough, but there's a lot of lore there, and there's a lot of stuff there. So, if we go, I believe it is northeast. It is northeast. So let's just go northeast really quick and grab it. It's near Silent Moon's camp, and there will be a fairy marking it, as with all Relics of Hyrule locations that have items inside. Goodbye, elk. There we go. There's the fairy. It's a pink fairy because there's a lot to this area, but also like there's some-ish legendary items in there. I'm not 100% sure which specific item triggers this fairy. When you grab items in Relics of Hyrule, you may have noticed this when we've been playing, is that when you grab a specific item from a chest in a location or marked by a fairy, the fairy will disable. Now, of course, I'm one person and there's hundreds of fairies, so if you do take an item and it doesn't work, let me know. Okay, we're in the Forgotten Cavern. There's a few things to grab. Oh, there's some Z fighting right there. Right there. It's pretty minor. There is a Gold Skulltula. Okay. Lag. What? There we go. I don't know what that was. Get... Oh no, come back. There we go. Got that Gold Skulltula. And there's nothing here. Okay. Now, Forgotten Cavern, like I said, it's an area steeped in lore. This area is going to be very reminiscent of a later area that you'll find later in the mod, hence the name Later Area. The area you'll find later in the mod, it is strikingly similar, and I don't want to give anything away. There's a few points all right at once. Here's a dead Bokoblin, or Bokoblin. Bokoblin? Ooh, he has our first Hylian shield. In Relics of Hyrule, Hylian shields are very common. This is a good find. It's heavy armor, so we can't really use it. Moblin Longsword, very nice. Weak Lingering Poison, not bad. I do have a mod that changes the appearance, BT dubs. Hagraven Claw, very good. We could enchant that. Bokoblin Heart, and of course the Blue Rupee. Is that our first Blue Rupee? I think it is. Yeah, it is. Alright. So far, we've only found green rupees, so this is our first blue rupee. You can see that the values, it's basically the same as in Zelda, but multiplied by 10. And that's something else to note is the values. I tend to assign the values to have significance. So this is 206, and Twilight Princess was released in 2006. So it's all intentional. Anyway, more Bokoblin fun. There's a Moblin Sword. Void Salts, that's good. A plain old Iron Shield, not going to worry about it. Bomb Flowers. Bomb Flowers are good. They're very potent. Bomb Flowers, of course, if you throw them, they explode after a few seconds. Now, this... Oh, Warden Sword back. This is suspicious. It's a Gossip Stone. We've seen Gossip Stones before. We can't use them yet. I'm not going to interact with it yet. We'll come back to that. And here's our first follower, our first potential follower, Vylintyn. Yes. It is Vylintyn, that is your name. And she comes free with a doggo. No. Actually, yes.
You honor Khajiit with your presence.
Highly recommend that you have Relationship Dialogue Overhaul installed so that you can recruit her properly and she speaks to you. I'm testing some things, so it doesn't quite work. Doesn't quite work, but follow me.
How can I argue with that?
I need your help. She has some stuff, and I am going to do something really quick. Let me see. Importance. I'm just gonna make her essential. If we look at her equipment, she has some generic stuff. She has Deku Nuts, mature Deku Nuts. She has a fairy letter, which I'll read in a moment. She has Linkle's crossbow, which we could take, and note the value, 2015. So we could take that, but I'm gonna let her keep it. She has an Oocca Tunic, or Oocca Circlet, which I will let her keep. Septum, Sheikah Dagger +1, a really good dagger. I think it's on par with... Yeah, that's a really good dagger. It's almost as strong. It's stronger than the Hero's Sword. And she has Banded Skyloft Shield and some worn reeded leather armor. So all of this stuff would be available to you if you wanted to take it from her. I'm going to let her keep it. And there's some other stuff. Obviously, there's an enchanter and an alchemy table for your use. Time-worn book. I'm going to overhaul those in a future update. Doesn't matter. Gold Skulltula token, Skin of Redead. Stalfos Bone Meal. That's the first time we found that. And a clan letter. You must turn your back on Hyrule. It belongs to us. Go on further and you will see your folly, always ignoring the truth. That does not bode well. In the barrel, nothing really interesting to find. Not going to steal from her chest, because she's going to get mad at me if I do. There's a bedroll and a hay pile and a normal anvil. And some Deku Nut clusters, so you can harvest Deku Nuts and Bomb Flower buds. I think at this point we can actually activate that Gossip Stone. Okay. Let's activate the Gossip Stone. Beware, fool, the eye of the Yiga.
What was that?
Vylintyn, a little help? Vylintyn, you're in my way. Please don't kill me. Aegis is coming clutch. Oh, jeez. Okay. Better not hurt that dog. Oh. Alright. Let me get that torch back. So that's our first Yiga foot soldier. And Yiga foot soldiers have a lot. So we have bone meal, but we also have canis root. And they always carry equipment, ingredients like canis root and rock warbler eggs that will fortify combat skills. So we're going to take those. We can make I'll prove it to you. I'll make a real quick potion after this. Forgotten Dwemer Legends Volume 1 and Stone of Agony. If we read these, we'll see who they were written by. They were written by Vylintyn. So that toppled... I'll take the Vicious Sickle, I'll take the Yiga armor, and I'll let him keep the rest. So if we look over here, this bookshelf was knocked over, and this barrel was thrown overboard. So the whole idea is that Yiga foot soldier came in here. Oh, here's some more notes that I'll read in a moment. That Yiga foot soldier came in here and ransacked the place. Her whole dinner was messed up. And then he hid. And we came in and he was waiting for us. But, honestly, Vylintyn and Aegis took care of him. So you can see he did have a Vicious Sickle, which is actually the strongest weapon we've found so far. So I might make that my offhand for now. It is classified as a mace, and the reason is I couldn't classify it as an axe, because if I did, it hangs like that on your hip, but axes hang blade up, and it just didn't really work. You can switch it to be an axe if you don't care about that kind of thing. For now, I am going to switch it into my offhand. Nope, not that one. There we go. There we go. So now I have both of them. All right. Let's do a little more exploring, and then we'll read all the lore at the end. So if you're not interested in that, you can just skip that part of the video. So far, we've encountered Yiga Foot Soldier. We're actually going to put on some of his equipment. He has really good boots and really good gauntlets. Or actually... Oh yeah, the hero's gauntlets are a little weaker. We already went this way. So let's go this way. There's nothing over there. I'm gonna get my bow ready because we have some friends coming up. Hello. Hello. Bokoblin. I should probably poison this thing. Alright, I'm gonna back up and, oh, okay, he is dead. Bokoblin Heart. Proximity Bomb. These are unique. Ooh, another Moblin Sword. I can improve One thing that you can do in Relics of Hyrule is if you have multiple of the same item, depending on the item, you can fuse them together and improve them. I'm gonna heal really quick. Oh, these are good for restore health potions. And the bombs, I forgot to mention, are all classified as scrolls simply for game mechanic. Like, I could classify those as miscellaneous items, but then you'd have to jump through all sorts of hoops. So it's just simpler if they're scrolls. I'll demonstrate how these work. First, you kind of saw how the Decanut worked. So I'll show how that works on this Keese. Keese resisted paralyze. You get the idea. Oh, geez. Alright, Keese is dead. That's the first Keese we've encountered. Kinstone. Eye of Keese and Blood of Keese. Lingering damage magicka. That's not great. Oh, I hear you. I hear you. Oh, he resisted paralyze. Of course he did. And he's out. He has a false Majora's Mask. Gold dust, which is going to be huge when we find the Kokiri sword. Where did that go? It's also a good smithing alchemy ingredient. What else does he have? Bokoblin heart. Ooh, an amber relic. That's another Relics of Hyrule item. Moblin short sword, pretty cool. Silver necklace. Stalfos shield. That's unique. There's another gold skulltula. Let me poison this thing with some lingering poison. I'm not gonna shoot the gold skulltula. I'm gonna wait because I want to hit you. And I also want to show you how the proximity bomb works. So if I throw the proximity bomb there, it's gonna sit, and hopefully, Vylintyn, don't blow it up. There we go. The gold skulltula triggered it. Vylintyn, that's why I made you essential. Hello. And he's out. Alright, we're making good time. Blue Rupee, Decanut, Bokoblin Heart, Zuna Short Sword, that's unique. This is just, that's Forgotten Magic, we're not going to worry about that. The Impact Bomb, those of course are a little weaker, but they explode on impact. And you can modify the standard bombs. Vylintyn's doing alright. You can, there we go. What you can do is you can go to the Tournament and Forge and modify some of these bombs so that they can explode instantly. You can't do it with the proximity bomb, but you can with bomb flowers and normal bombs. We need something for this. Well, we don't have it yet. Alright, that's inviting. We're going to take some gold skulltula loot. And we have another hero's chest, and inside we find the Oocca cap and the Oocca Tunic. I'm going to put on the Oocca cap. Oocca Tunic, increased frost resistance by 30%, target is 30% weaker to damage, increases shock resistance by 30%. So, it should say wearer is weaker. This has, it's actually a little weaker than the hero's clothes, but it has an enchantment. And the other issue is that it is 30% weaker to fire damage, but it has really good frost and shock resistance. So I might give that to Vylintyn, because it's better than what she's currently wearing. Here's the Oocca Tunic. I could give her the Yiga armor too, but I don't think that's necessary. Yeah, so she just went oof because it that weakness applied. Okay, so far so good. Oh, the Blasphemous Shield. This is a unique Hylian shield that's been sort of desecrated and painted over. You can see the shadow of the Triforce. If you compare it to the original Hylian shield, there's this sort of metal piece that's the Triforce, but that was taken off, and it was repainted with a different sigil rather than the classic, bird motif. It was something else. This is stronger than the Deku Shield, so that's going to be my new number 2. And we're going to go into the Sunless Depths. And then I'll read all the lore that we find. This is a relatively new area. And there's no enemies, it's just pure exploration. So we found a bunch of these chests, and we got to open them. Guaranteed Stalfos Bonemold boots. I'm not gonna say no to that. Fall of Lorule, page 13. So we're finding some extra stuff here. I'll go that way next. In these unique chests, you may recognize Forgotten Shield and Hylian Messenger Tunic. I'll explain the Hylian Messenger Tunic in a moment. And then we have Fall of Lorule, page 8, and then Note from the Sunless Depths. Seek out the broken mirror, seek the pieces of dark glass, restore it, and discover the depths of the shadows. So something is going on here. And here's a poem by Alfred Lord Tennyson with the Lorule crest on it. Tears, idle tears, I know not what they mean. Tears from the depth of some divine despair rise in the heart and gather to the eyes in looking on the happy autumn fields and thinking of the days that are no more. Fresh as the first beam glittering on a sail that brings our friends from the underworld, sad as the last which reddens over one that sinks with all we love below the verge. So sad, so fresh, the days that are no more. Ah, sad and strange as in dark summer dawns, the earliest pipe of half-awakened birds, to dying ears when unto dying eyes the casement slowly grows a glimmering square. So sad, so strange, the days that are no more. Dear as remembered kisses after death, and sweet as those by hopeless fancy feigned, on lips that are for others deep as love, deep as first love and wild with all regret. Oh, death in life, the days that are no more. And then we have the Peasant Sword, which is the weakest weapon we've found so far, simply because it's broken. But it can be repaired. So we'll bring that back to the Terminal Forge. Let me just make sure I didn't miss any chests. And then I'll explain what's going on here. So, the mod is called Relics of Hyrule, but there's a lot more to it. Oh, did I find this one? I did not. Oh, we just got a Jade Relic. That's pretty unique. There's a lot more to it. Because it's not just Hyrule, it's also talking about Lorule, and there's elements of Termina and the Twilight Realm. Skyloft is part of the lore. So, it's the whole world of Legend of Zelda that was integrated into the mod. Okay. Cool. Oh, wait. Where does this go? Oh, okay, cool. Alright, so that's pretty much it for the Forgotten Cavern. That was added relatively recently. There was an update that expanded the presence of Lorule lore. And at this point, I'm going to read all the lore books that we just got, and I'll do some inventory management off-screen so that you don't need to worry about that and busy yourself with it. But I'll read all the lore if you're interested in it, and provide some context for what's going on. So let's sit by the fire and read for a moment. So first things first... the clan letter. I obviously the Yiga don't want us to find the Relics of Hyrule. And then we found these pages from the Fall of Lorule. And you can see that it's partially incomplete. Ravio is mentioned. And Yuga, I think, is mentioned. Hang on. And then, yeah, Yuga, Triforce Shrine, Hilda, the King of Lorule dies, plot twist. So something's going on here, and these are the first 4 pages that we can find, and there's more to come, but you'll need something to actually reach them, which is what that note from the Sunless Depths was talking about. We need to find the broken mirror and repair it so that we can do cool stuff. So we read the poem. Let's read Vylintyn's notes. Forgotten Dwemer Legends, Volume 1. Forgotten Dwemer Legends, Volume 1, compiled by Vylintyn Mohkcshivek. In my research on Dwemer artifacts, I occasionally found mention of a recurring myth. The Dwemer have reportedly had difficulty translating its original sources, as they are written in tongues from the time before man, mare, and beasts. Legends of an ancient, beautiful, mythical kingdom can be found in Dwemer texts. They mention a massive war that destroyed the kingdom. The few survivors of the war apparently lived with the early Dwemer, some even making spouses of them. No known bloodlines are mentioned in later Dwemer texts. Myths regarding the kingdom are contradictory. The stories favored by the Dwemer say that the kingdom fell naturally of its own size with no magical influence. Some more dramatic stories mention an island falling from the sky and the battle of 1,000 heroes. Many stories mention that a hero was meant to save the kingdom from destruction, but that he did not arrive to change the tide of the war. The fantastical stories mention that at the very end of the war, just before the kingdom crumbled entirely, thousands of versions of the legendary hero appeared at different corners of the world and fought hordes of monsters and demons, but were ultimately defeated by them. The versions favored by the Dwemer make no mention of dark beasts or thousands of heroes fighting doomed battles. Instead, the war is reframed as long-lasting unrest stemming from a pervasive corruption in the royalty of the kingdom. The Dark Army consisted of a desert tribe that took residence in the cities, coexisting with the townsfolk for decades. According to the Dwemer, the kingdom fell slowly and rotted from within. The Dwemer used the myth as a parable for political honesty and as a warning that even the largest, most wonderful things must come to an end. So, this is framing Hyrule as a myth to the Dwemer, as a legend. And there's a lot of indications that Hyrule did actually exist. Gossipstone being desecrated, the Yiga trying to fight us. It also provides a partial explanation for the hero's clothes, to an extent the Hylian messenger tunic, and the Oocca Tunic, which I gave to Vylintyn. So, that there was a massive war, but also that there were potentially different versions of a legendary hero that appeared, and that would explain the presence of the Orden's sword as well as the hero's sword. More on that to come, of course, as the lore develops in the mod. Something else to point out, the Stone of Agony book, also written by Vylintyn. My studies have unearthed legends of a small, unassuming stone that can be used to craft a spell that can detect both living beings and the undead. The Stone of Agony was apparently once used to find treasures, but the spell was somehow doctored during a terrible war so that battle mages could use it to find hidden enemies and allies. Since the war was mostly won against the living dead, a spell that could distinguish between mortals and the undead was invaluable. In fact, the spell is recorded to have been used to determine if an ally was transformed into a zombie, vampire, or the like. My sources, as with many of my studies, were Dwemer legends. I have gleaned very little information on the Stone of Agony, so the above paragraph is a result of years of research on hundreds of texts. Very few mention the War of the Dead, and those that mention the war very rarely mention the Stone of Agony. My choice to publish this information was made after finding no further information year after year, despite my best efforts. Once we get to the Spider House tables and are able to cash these in, we might be able to fulfill the prophecy, so to speak. And in Vylintyn's notes, they. Who are they? In my research, I have often come across this pronoun with no antecedent. Tomes simply mention them and refer to them as ghosts with heads of yellow light. Their faces are described as insect-like, and they bear golden claws and carry books and curious silver objects. And yet, I have found no lore concerning the way these objects of theirs are used, at least in the books in fair condition, or those I have been able to restore. I have read that they appear in orbs of light and do little else but watch. Stories tell of them being seen in fields, watching from afar, or orbs of light passing overhead. Stories suggest that they are studying falling civilizations or waiting for civilizations to fall, and they are only found in dying lands. They never attack, they only watch. But why? Why do they watch? Are they and their orbs of light flights of fancy? Are they products of delirious minds? Normally I would not bother with such trifles, but they are referenced so often in ancient Hylian lore and legends about Hyrule that I have to admit they are becoming a mild obsession. Who are they, and more importantly, do they truly exist? So it seems that Vylintyn, first of all, can she speaks Khajiit, but she writes a lot better. She writes a lot differently. But she's doing a lot of research into Hyrule and the Relics of Hyrule, and she managed to find one of Linkle's crossbows. There is another that we can find later. And she's found a lot of information about Hyrule and Dwemer legends about Hyrule, and the pieces are starting to come together. That's all I have for you for today. I will very quickly run to the Tournament Forge and fuse these together to make something a little stronger, and then that will be the end of the stream. Or the video, not the stream. I do stream, though. If you're interested, I do stream on Twitch. Not the walkthrough, but other stuff. Usually Hyrule, Relics of Hyrule development. So we have a few more items. We're still not level 3, but we're getting there. So I might do some stuff to level up. We'll fuse this Moblin Sword, and then that will be it for the video. And then we'll start making our way further northeast to try to get to... Oh, there's enemies nearby?
What was that?
It's a mud crab. Oh my gosh. I don't have time for you. I will take your mud crab chitin though, because that's really good. Oop, wrong button. That's really good for cure disease potions. Okay. Let's see if we can fuse these. Moblin Sword +1! And of course you can change the hats into rings if you prefer. It's up to you. You can also change bomb flowers into bomb flower seeds. Oh, and that's what I was talking about earlier. If you take bombs to the Tournament Forge, you can modify them. You can also make them if you have the right pieces of equipment, and you can make bomb casings. But in order to make bomb casings, you need corundum and iron. Oh, and y'all, the Peasant Sword, that's the next step. We need a steel ingot and a corundum ingot, and we can start making another cool sword. Alright, that's enough for now. Thanks for coming, and we'll see you next time.